Commission to order. And we will get into our public hearings such as they are this evening in just a moment. First, we have minutes from our July meeting to act upon. Those minutes have been circulated in advance to the commission members. I've had one comment already for a revision to the minutes to clarify and complete a sentence under SP 23-10 about a motion that was made and seconded there. And also, I'm recommending that the commission's action on the re-subdivision for the related case, R-23-31, appear under that item in the minutes so that 8 years from now, when someone's looking to see if that re-subdivision was approved and some of us are no longer here, it'll be easy to find. So I'd make those two suggestions as corrections to the minutes, and I'm open to other suggestions for additions or corrections. If not, is there a motion to approve the amended minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? And public hearings, of which we have one this evening. But we focus on quality, not quantity. This is a continuation of a hearing from our last meeting, and if a member of the staff wants to recap the number, title, and the particulars as listed on the agenda, then we can return to the meeting, or the hearing rather, excuse me.
All right. Up on the agenda is SP 2310, 1001 Brighton Ave.
Could you clarify, please? I thought we closed the hearing and just held the vote for this. Some members of the commission wanted to do some research
Yes.
regarding some location issues.
Okay.
Issues. So the hearing
That's
is
part
closed.
of the, maybe clarification for that action item. Okay.
That's my understanding as well. I think you already completed seeker.
Yes,
So you would.
we did.
Okay, so we have no new public hearing this evening. However, we have a pending case that was heard previously several times, and questions regarding research that various commission members wanted to undertake or look at, and needed time to do that, bringing this case to our meeting this evening. So it is internet service here, but yeah, so SP-23-10 is the item before us now, the special permit for the car wash at the site identified at East Brighton Ave and Seneca Turnpike. We're open to discussion and or a motion for action on this item.
For our record, for the discussion, I will make a motion since we've declared seeker. Council indicates we've already made a declaration on seeker. So I'll move to approve this action granting the following waivers: the waiver of the structure setback, waiver of side and rear yard screening requirement, quantity, and waiver of sign area, because that was explained why they need more than 40 square feet. Waiver of driveway width. I think from the record last time, existing driveway was 25 feet. Our regulation is 24. Waiver of the landscape, although there's a note here from the city forestry technician that we didn't have in the last hearing.
Clarification question. I thought that the waiver, we were down to 4 waivers on the application, that the other 4 had been satisfied by the applicant in the previous discussion. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct, that's correct.
All right,
So we're
do we
down
have the
to
4 that still exist?
The
Yes,
2
we do.
sign waivers?
Okay, so it's on the memo here. All right. Then I'm going to revise the, thank you. No, that's nothing to be sorry about. That's better than a friendly amendment. Okay, so it's the waiver of the structure setback requirement, no longer needed. So I'll take that off. Waiver of the side yard screening and rear yard screening, no longer needed. Waiver of driveway width, no longer needed. So actually it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things are come off.
Can you, you just read 3 off, so why don't we just recap it for clarity? Why don't we identify all 8 and the ones that were taken off and the ones that are on the table before you right now, so you can clarify your motion?
Sure.
Because I think it's a little confusing at this point.
Right, so what I originally proposed, the original request for deviations and waivers, there was a waiver of structure setback. And we're now saying that that's no longer needed. Waiver of side yard screening requirement, and we're saying that's no longer needed.
I'm sorry, Walter.
Okay, do you want me to read all 8 and then
I'd
go through
like
the
you
5?
to read all 8 and then go
And then
through
go
it.
through the
Because I
5.
think it's, and further, be careful of your wording, because is it that it's no longer needed, or that they've satisfied it and they are not asking for it anymore? I just want to make sure that we are absolutely crystal clear on what's being done.
Okay, so
But maybe go through the 8.
I'll go through the original 8 proposed requested deviations and waivers. So let's start with the 8. So the request was for a waiver of structure setback, waiver of side yard screening requirement, waiver of rear yard screening requirement, waiver of sign quantity requirement, waiver of sign area requirement, waiver of driveway width requirement, waiver of landscape curbing requirement, waiver of sign lighting requirement, all right, so there are 2, there's waiver of sign lighting requirement and then waiver of lighting requirement for the actual property. So that's 8, right?
There was two waivers under the sign.
Right.
Okay. Oh, that's together. Okay.
That's
They're
together.
together.
Quantity and area was one.
Well,
That's
no,
how you
those
get
are
to
2
9.
waivers,
But
Those
those
are
are
two
2
both
waivers.
pertaining
Waivers,
to
so
signs.
It is
but
9 with those 2.
It's 9 with all of them.
So there was also 2 under the screening requirement.
I think perhaps, Walter, that when you read it the first time, you just said the screening requirement, so maybe those
Okay.
came in together, the
Okay.
side yard screening and rear yard screening, maybe that was packaged as one waiver originally?
It may have been.
Okay. Won't beat a dead horse. I mean, if they've been satisfied or the commission's already spoken on those, we're just going to lump them together as having been satisfied and have our 8. Okay.
So do I need to read what's in the memo now saying that at the last meeting we deemed they were satisfied? Or is the record already going to reflect that?
I would identify those that are still outstanding.
Take a moment to say this one is satisfied, right? So.
That's right.
Okay.
curbing, and I think one on the previous page.
Let me see what you have for your notes.
These are the 4 that's in today's packet
Okay.
that are remaining.
I've got this right. This is remaining?
It's in today's packet.
Okay. And over the weekend, so I'm just being sure. Okay. So I will go then with this one, if that's what you're saying.
What's in the packet for today? It's pages 7 and 8 in the material that was produced hard copy for today's packet. There's 4 waivers. 2 of the waivers are bundled under the sign, and then the other 2 that follow.
And additionally, commission members, in accordance with some, on page 11 is a memo that summarizes where you were when you left off. Next time, staff, we need to direct them to that directly. So that has your,
They have it in front of them. They can see the 5 previous waiver items that were addressed and satisfied by the applicant at the last meeting. All the details of that, those summary for each waiver items is in that memo, leaving 4 left in the packet that we're going to go through.
Just again, counsel, I think just for clarification, I'm going to close my motion here and then accept a friendly amendment, just to make sure we have the 4 that are actually remaining. Is that agreeable?
Agreeable with me.
Okay.
So I guess the friendly amendment would be that on today's agenda, we have 4 waivers to be granted. One is a waiver on sign quantity required. One is a waiver on sign area requirement. A third is a waiver of the driveway with requirement. And the 4th is waiver of lighting requirement.
All right.
This says lighting requirement no longer needed and driveway waiver no longer needed. This is where the confusion's coming in from today's.
Right. It's just the sign amendments, as I understand it. From the memo.
Right, so we're down.
We're down to
Just 2. Yep.
just the square footage.
And the
sign quantity, sign
Quantity and area.
Right,
quantity
Okay.
and area
landscape curbing?
no,
has been satisfied.
satisfied.
Yes.
Curbing's been added.
Okay, so that was doubled with driveway width, okay. Okay. No, Commissioner, I was just saying that on the memo, they've been lumped together, driveway width and landscape curbing, so, okay. Sorry about this pain. We're growing, the memos will be better, everything will be beautiful at the next meeting, so you have 3 items.
2 sign.
2 sign items.
2.
So friendly amendment accepted. Poor Robert, he's up there somewhere, Robert's rules.
Discussion on the motion before us. There's no discussion, then all those in,
We had a second motion. Was that with the friendly amendment was approved? Okay. So for discussion then, I want to say that I appreciate what appears to be, from everything we've seen, a very solid, good faith effort on the part of the applicants and the part of the city to work collaboratively to resolve all the issues that have been brought up in the hearing. I'm very pleased with how that process has gone, although I will admit that I think it probably took longer than perhaps it needed to. Certainly the applicants would feel that, I suspect, for all the times you come back. So I just wanted to acknowledge and I appreciate that effort. I do have one remaining concern that I would like to address, and this was discussed at previous meetings. At the last meeting, we discussed it in some length, and it is in reference to the engineering comments in the memo dated July 3rd, 2023, and under the various comments by the traffic engineer, there's lots of stipulations that have to be met in order to improve the intersection. The applicants are obviously well aware of the problems with that intersection and have made some compelling arguments for why, in fact, their efforts to build this facility and improve the intersection would, in fact, improve the intersection. I believe that's possible. The city seems to think that it's possible. But all of that seems to be possible, and the stipulations that are given in this letter seem to indicate that, in fact, it might not be possible to improve the intersection. Therefore, I would like item 11 on that letter, which reads, if any point during the future operation of the site, the traffic from the project creates negative impact to the intersection or surrounding streets, the owner and applicant will be required to make corrections to the satisfaction of the city of Syracuse. We discussed that at the last meeting. Corporate counsel indicated that that is a pro forma clause, that a permit would not be issued if that is the case. However, this item seems to go beyond the issuance of a permit and refers to the operation of the facility and problems that may arise thereafter. Therefore, I would feel much better about approving this tonight if that was included as a condition of the resolution. I defer to the opinion of my colleagues as to whether or not they feel that needs to be included. So I'm offering that as a friendly amendment.
Commissioner, I'm sorry to interrupt you, or the deliberations, but I just want to be clear where, so your purview, we have to limit your purview to what the Planning Commission. Generally speaking, curbs and driveways are not part of that, except in as much as it affects the surrounding neighborhood.
This is not about curbs and driveways. It's about the lighting at the intersection.
Okay, the
And
lighting.
making the intersection work with the new operation.
I know some of this was discussed at last meeting, so just so I'm clear too, it's around the intersection as a whole and traffic in through that intersection. And it was mentioned that SMTC did a very thorough study of it, and did go through a number of different things that they believe that we can do to correct that. So, or alleviate some of the challenges there, which is separate from this proposed development, independent of that, I guess. There are other businesses that are up there too that have been added, others that have existed. Anybody familiar with the site is familiar with maybe, how things go when you're going through that intersection. So that's what you're saying, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And there are reasons to believe that it can be made workable, but there also seems to be some question as to whether, in fact, it will be made workable. I presume that's why the clause is here in the first place.
Sure.
To indicate that it may not be. And if it's not be, then there is recourse for both the city and residents of that area who may have concerns or problems about that. So I understand that that's considered to be a pro forma stipulation, but it seems to me that intersection is important enough to everybody concerned that there is value in putting that in as a condition. But again, I'll defer to the wisdom of the commission on that issue.
So,
That was my point, that isn't something.
The permit goes with the understanding that if there's 30 car accidents for the next 3 months at that intersection, the city is coming back and saying, there's a problem here, and
Right.
you have to be part of this solution, because you
But-
hold the permit.
But that's not planning and zoning.
Right. No,
That's
that's what I'm
engineering and
saying.
DPW. That was my whole point, is that I understand where Commissioner Lentz is coming from, but I'm not sure that adding that to a condition of your approval is an appropriate gesture to protect something that's not within your purview to even review. But he's saying it's about lighting, not about the traffic flow. So, I'm confused about. I just want you to caution
about the
you
signal.
not to. But the signal is not a planning commission matter, period. if DPW commented on it, or engineering commented on it, or transportation commented on it, that's why we're moving comments to the back of the packets. We have to be very careful that the commission considers what the commission has jurisdiction to consider. And traffic lights aren't one of them. That's part of the overall process of review. That's why we have multiple agencies review every application. So you can add it as a condition, but I would caution generically against adding conditions that aren't related to items that you would normally have jurisdiction over.
It is deemed by council that we do have that jurisdictional authority. It is included in the resolution. If not, it retains its W in transportation.
Sure.
I want to see these minutes.
That's right. I'm not typing them, thank God.
So since you already granted the second on the other friendly amendment,
Right. I
guess-
can't do it on this one, Walter.
I guess I'll now come back in this mathematical equation, and I will now say, why, thank you, and I'll
Oh,
second
perfect.
the second friendly amendment. Okay. And then I would call the question.
Well, further discussion? Is none. No further discussion on the several times amended motion. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Special permit is approved with the various amendments to the motion. That concludes that item. We have additional business this evening. I believe it's a 3-mile limit case from the Ellis. Staff introduce that item.
Next item, 3S-23-14, 3-mile limit subdivision review, Town of Camillus, 4 lots re-subdivided out of 1 parcel. Address is 522 Gary Lock Road.
Okay, and to confirm, this 3-mile limit case has been reviewed and approved by the city engineer's office, correct? Okay. Are there questions from the commission members regarding this application? If not, is there a motion for approval? Or is there a motion for action on the item?
Move approval. Yeah. 3S-2314, 3-mile limit subdivision review.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The Camilla's 3-mile limit case is approved. Additional business to come before the commission this evening? Do we have authorizations for the August 28th meeting?
We do not have any authorizations, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple items that are percolating, and we hope that they're ready to get on the agenda. But we did do some digging and research in the Corporation Counsel's office and determined that there's actually no legal basis for authorizations. It's really more of a notice, kind of a friendly notice requirement. I was directed not to include them anymore on the agenda, so we might revisit that in the future because it's a like a belt and suspenders. It's another layer of notice, but it also creates confusion because if something needs to be added later and there's a list of authorizations, then the public could be confused that why wasn't that one authorized, and we can add them and take them away. So that there being no legal requirement for it, we are not doing them anymore for now.
Okay. Additional,
Just lots of changes.
pardon me?
Lots of changes.
Yes, indeed. Any other business then to come before us this evening? In that case, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? We are adjourned until the 28th of August. Thank you.